shows me as being live. It's always a good sign. Alright, now I'm going to mess with some stuff real quick. Turn the sound down. For whatever reason, it'll drown out my audio if I leave the sound all the way up, so I'll just take it pretty low. And let's see if we can't share this to some of the Facebook pages real quick, since I highly doubt anyone's even watching at this point. So if you're wondering what this video is going to be about, I'm going to share some of the 1.7 updates, some of the new ships that you have. I have the Bismarck. I also got the October Sky, or the October Revolution, which is pretty amazing. I'm just throwing that out there, and I'm going to obviously talk about that and I'll explain why it's amazing. But yeah. And I'll get to doing all that here in just a moment. But for now, just stay patient. Sorry, guys. Alright, so yeah, the update hit yesterday. I wasn't able to post a video about it yesterday. I had too much going on. Just to go through the news feed real quick, obviously you guys have seen all this. There's a victory blitz going on. I'm going to discuss the pertinent things. Victory blitz going on with some keys for boxes, medium crate keys, and if you get towards the end, you get the heavy crate keys. I am a dirty gold spammer. I bought the October Revolution. It was only like, I don't know, 15 bucks worth of gold. I still had enough gold left over to buy the legendary camo afterwards. But then at the end, there's the Mikasa, which I already have. So I will talk about this. So 30 days for this camouflage one. It looks cool. I really like this camouflage. The other thing too is look at the XP and silver bonus on that. This camouflage could be really, really good for people who aren't currently running a camouflage on their ship because they don't want to gold it, or they they don't have the gold. They don't want to gold it. It is expensive, especially at the higher tiers. I think, what is it, 3,500 for tier 8 or something like that, which is really expensive for a legendary camo. That being said, I am not going to put it on in place of the legendary camos because they still give me things that camo doesn't in terms of performance, and I prefer the performance over that. But if I do manage to get another ship, I mean, obviously I'm gonna finish this victory blitz. I just haven't been putting a whole lot of effort into it yet, which I'm about to tonight. But yeah, so good camo, looks cool, is cool. Has a really good silver bonus. This would be a great tier 8 camo, especially, between the silver at that level and the XP grind. If you're grinding something, it's a good camo to run. And I'll go ahead and then move into the German battleships. So I played through the Gneisenau now. And, I shared a review on that after the last event. So I was able to get the Bismarck. I think it was only like 150k, maybe 160k, which I easily had, thanks to the team event that was going on last weekend or the weekend before. This thing, it looks good. I like it. It's a nice, fast. That's the key thing. The German battleship line is quick at the high tiers. That's what they're known for. The way that I'm running it currently. Let's go talk about maneuverability. Where is it? There it is. Max speed 28.3 knots. You can get that better. I'm just not running the max speed boost, so I prefer the traverse because you can see there 5.2 degrees of traverse. They traverse slow as ever. And then your turret traverse is only 5 degrees, and I'm not running a turret traverse mod either right now. That's just because of what I intend on doing once I max it out on blueprints. But it's got some big guns to it. It's got some good range. It's definitely it's up there. It's competitive. It does really well up close because once you get to the Gneisenau, the one thing that you get on all your German battleships is those secondary auto guns. Um, and then your main guns fire AP, which you see there. The way I have it configured right now is 575 at 7.2 kilometers. So it's really good range battleship. You can pound other ships from a range with your secondaries that they can't reach you with yours or with theirs, which is nice. My one complaint is that the Grober Crowfost doesn't really get any advantage to that range for secondaries. You see, there's 6 kilometers, which is again the what the Bismarck gets at as stock as well. So, but the one thing that German battleships do all have, well, I'm assuming at the higher tiers, you've got that secondary battery reload time, so you can really hammer out some damage with that. That being said, I'm fairly confident that I actually had better range on the Gneisenau on my secondaries, which you see, let's see, yeah, 6.75. So again, that's probably with the current, yeah, I mean, the Gneisenau had better secondaries, but really the speed is really the big thing, and you have an extra turret for your main. That's really the big difference, I think, is you can focus more on your main guns. You've got 8 main guns and 4 turrets. It's kind of a joy to fly around in because it does fly. It goes 28 knots. It's just pretty quick. You can really get out there. I'll go ahead and play a match with it. La, 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 la. Let's see. So, yeah, I was really looking forward to the German battleship line. I'm glad it's in the game. I like the quick little battleships. The Congo is one of my favorites. I have yet to get the Amagi, but I'm right on the cusp of it. I'm just kind of holding off because, I have the German. I wanted to grind the German line. There's plenty of people out there that have the Yamato, so I kind of wanted to make my first Tier 10 battleship something different, something that not a whole lot of people have. And we'll see how it works. I am kind of disappointed they don't have torpedoes on the Bismarck. I don't know the fine details like that historically between the differences between the Bismarck and the Tirpitz. They were sister ships. They were, the Bismarck sank in the Atlantic, and then Hitler hid the Tirpitz up, I want to say somewhere around Norway. It was northern Europe.
Battle starts.
And the Allies kind of hunted it down and sank it because of the symbol that it stood for, which was Hitler's kind of drive to make Germany's battleships bigger, better, stronger, faster than the rest of the battleships in the world at the time. And he had plans to make bigger and bigger battleships. So this is his plan. The Bismarck and the Tirpitz were the biggest battleships they ever actually made, but they wanted to build them, bigger, stronger, and faster, just like their tanks. They had some of the biggest tanks you'll see that came out of World War II. A lot of people kind of said that had Hitler not spent so much time trying to make all of these big giant tanks and just made more Panzer IIIs and Panzer IVs, they may have won the war because they put so much of their effort into the Tiger program to get minimal results. And there we go. Already spotted one. But it's kind of the same thing with the battleship line, you know. They really didn't have sea superiority. Due in part to the restrictions that were imposed after World War One. Their surface fleet was limited, so because of that, they had to rely on U-boats, which was kind of a loophole in the clause in the Treaty of Versailles, where, you know, it talked about a surface fleet and limited number of surface fleet and specified how many of each, you know, class of ship that they were allowed to have, but it didn't really specify much in terms of the U-boats, which kind of surprises me looking back, because Germany had U-boats in World War One and they used them extensively, much in the way that they did in World War Two to destroy, you know, attack shipping and stuff like that. But it was still a little more gentlemanly in World War One than it was in World War Two. There were lines that they couldn't cross, and everyone kind of knew that. And they knew that if they did cross those lines, it was a war crime, and that was a line that people didn't quite want to cross, even though they still did. But anyways, enough of that little rant there. So I tend to spend most of my time in battleships backing up and looking through my scopes, so we don't really get to enjoy this beauty that is the Bismarck. Now, your guns are big. You're pretty much always going to overpen a destroyer. I usually save the concept of even trying to fight a destroyer until the very, very end. See if I can sink around into this guy. See how my blind shots are. I probably missed that. Yep, missed him. So yeah, you know, you got these big German derpy guns on this thing. You're gonna overpen pretty much all of your destroyers, which is something I usually that a lot of people will usually recommend, is that you fire HE when you're shooting at a destroyer with a battleship. And usually it's true. I'll get into the exception later. I'm gonna do a severe in-depth breakdown, probably more so than I am on the Bismarck when it comes to the October Revolution, the Russian battleship that they introduced. And this guy's coming at me. I guess I gotta focus on this, don't I? Run that repair kit even though I'm not full. Yeah. So there's those secondary autos kicking in. You can tell because they're firing HE. Yeah, see, there's that overpen kicking in. Obviously, I didn't do. Yeah, he's gonna get full roll on me.
The situation is under control.
So obviously, I didn't do. You know, I would have one volleyed that thing if I would have done max damage possible, but I still got him in the end. Now, the one thing that's probably our saving grace is that the carriers in this match are... Oh, wow. We don't even have a carrier. Oh, he's dead, that's why. So there it is. They just capped us out. Spent too much time talking, didn't even realize that we were getting capped out there. It's one of the most frustrating things in this game to have happen, especially when you're in a battleship and you can't really influence that too well unless you're guarding the cap. It's almost impossible. So the only real safe way to do it is it's a complex thing. But yeah, there's the Bismarck. I've been enjoying it. I've had a rough time with it though. Teams have not been, shall I say, up to par. So it's kind of discouraging. So I'm really trying to play it mostly in platoons where I know I have good players with me, because Tier 8 can be cancer, especially right now. There's a lot of people that took a while to get to Tier 8, and they probably shouldn't be at Tier 8. So here's the October Revolution. We'll go ahead and take a really good look at this, because there's a few things about this ship that are important to understand. One, I'm going to compare it to the Congo, which is probably one of the most overplayed battleships at Tier 5, that and the New York. And you're probably, we'll compare it to a lot of them. We'll take a look at some of the numbers. First off, though, I want to point out it has 12 guns. So it has 4 turrets, 3 guns on each turret. Traverse speed, I'm currently running. Whoa, turret traverse speed, huh? I thought I was running it to get a little faster than that. Maybe I did something messed up. So, yeah, your turret traverse speed kind of sucks on this thing. 4.28. That's really its only downside, though. I haven't had an issue with the turret traverse speed, but it definitely can get in there. Your speed isn't the greatest either. You know, it's only 23 knots, which is about average for most of the battleships of this tier, with the Congo being the extreme exception. But it feels like it gets to speed rather decently. It's not like a tier 8 battleship where it's really clunky and slow off the gun, you know. It's pretty good in terms of that. Your range 11.9, and then your main AP damage is 1210. I'm running Elite Gun Operator for my bonus, and then I'm currently running the main battery reload time. I'm running Traverse Acceleration, and I'm also running Torpedo Damage Reduction. There's a lot of destroyer spam all over in the game right now, especially tier 5. It's easy to get to a tier 5 destroyer, so there's a lot of people that have them and run them. Now the one thing that I wanna point out with this, and like I said, I'm gonna compare it to the Congo. So the Congo's max speed is 29 knots. That's why so many people play it. It plays like a cruiser. It's so much fun to play. It was my favorite tier 5 battleship until today. Honestly, when I got this thing and I put it my first game, I was in love with it. Your main battery is going to reach out a little further, but it's really, the range difference is only 0.3 kilometers, so it's really hard to kite that. And then your main AP damage is 1400, so you only have 8 guns though on a Congo. So 8 times 1400, you're looking at, let's see, 8,000, so roughly 11,200 damage volleys versus, alright, let's see if that, okay, I think I got it fixed, sorry about that. Yeah, that was weird. It just like kind of stopped broadcasting on me. So I was talking about the damage. So 11,200 damage volleys with the Congo. Your volleys with this using AP, 1,200 times 12 guns puts you well over that. If it was 10 guns, it puts you at 1,200, which is already more than the Congo has in a single volley, but it's 12 guns. So add on another 2,400. You're looking at about 1,400 or 14,400 damage roughly per volley every 20 seconds the way that I'm running it. And let's compare that to the Congo's reload time of, and granted this is from the tech tree, so it's about the same reload time too. 23 seconds stock is what it is on this, I believe. So you really kind of have to take that into consideration. That's a pretty big gap in damage per volley. And it's going to come loaded up when you enter a battle, and I'll go jump into a battle now. Well, let me compare it real quick to some of the other ones, because obviously the New York is firmly popular. It's got 10 guns. Roughly, it's still a little slower than New York is, but your damage on the New York is, you know, you're looking at 10 guns for this 14,000. So it's still even more damage per volley than the New York. And what's your 23-second reload? So the same stock reload time. So it has more damage per volley than the New York as well. And we'll compare it to the Koenig. So with the Koenig, you're looking at 10 guns and 1050. And granted, these are stock. So the New York probably actually does have a little bit more damage per volley, but same reload time. But again, the more guns you have, the better the chances for RNG to land your shells. And I personally think the dispersion on it is great. So here you're looking at a lot faster reload time with the Koenig. However, you're going to sacrifice some of your damage per volley for that, which is to be expected. And the Koenig's top speed is still about the same. It's a little slightly slower probably. But let's go ahead and get into a match. Enough talking about it. Let's go ahead and play it. Oh, so this thing is definitely one of my joys. Again, like I said, it's going to come stock loaded up in the match, running HE as your stock shell, which I'm okay with a lot of the time. But
Battle starts.
make sure, yeah, there we go. All right, so I'm going to switch it over to AP now. The one thing about your AP, and I forgot to bring it up, the caliber of your guns on this. So caliber matters in this game. Caliber determines your penetration on in terms of what you're gonna pen. I don't remember the exact math behind it, but this ship seems to have this perfect caliber that allows it to not only be able to get a lot of high rolls on destroyers with AP, but also still get a lot of Citadel shots and stuff like that on bigger battleships, especially Congos. And this one is, they got 2 Wyomings and a New York, so I'm high tier on this match, but it should still be a good demo. There's 2 destroyers. Maybe we can highlight that right here with the high rolls that you get. And you also get the enhanced aim. I'm going to go ahead and slow down and let this guy get in front of me. Alright, so I'm going to really bring it in. I'm going to run precise aim, and I'm going to aim a little high because he looks like he's trying to turn around. And I might have just missed that whole volley. I got 1 in there for 577, so it's to be expected. That was pretty, probably about 9k on a destroyer, you know. Oh, this guy wants some. Come up short. No, just 1.
Torpedoes!
It's like that carrier wants to tort me. Can't really blame him. Kill the new fancy shiny ship, right? And I'm getting a little far ahead of my team here. Go ahead and back off. Do some probing shots.
Under attack!
1. Oh man. Not my best game in the world, but whatever. Of course I got a destroyer hugging me.
Enemy torpedoes spotted!
See if we can end that destroyer right now. Alright, I'm gonna focus this Wyoming for a little bit.
Target hit!
Just took a torpedo. Should probably focus, but
The situation is
see,
under control.
I run repair kits for guns. I don't
We hit
necessarily
the
run
enemy.
them for 1 or 2 fires, but I will for guns because that's damage. Just kind of playing around. See, that wasn't a bad roll. 4 hits, and I did a fair amount of damage to him.
Enemy aircraft
These guys
incoming!
want to kill me so bad.
We're hit!
Oh, there it is. I just Citadel the freaking, destroyer, so...
We're taking
Yeah, you can't really complain too much about that. Really, the destroyers are the most annoying thing in the world to me, and I'm guilty of it too. I'm pretty sure everyone is. I'm gonna back off, narrow angle. So this is one thing that and this isn't really a perfect game. It's not gonna be a perfect game. I'm not putting complete focus into it.
Enemy aircraft incoming!
But this is one thing that I definitely do when I'm running low on hit points like this, is I back away and I get onto a narrow angle, even if it only means that I have 1 gun on target. I'll still do it because it makes me a hard target to hit, especially battleships that are broadside to me. Their guns are going to be a wide firing arc. It's just kind of pretty productive in terms of nice torpedo run. In terms of maintaining hit points. I'm going to keep backing away, actually. potato hit on that guy.
Nice shot.
Let's see, I landed 5 of 6 shells that time. 5 of 6 shells that time. So really, that's, you know, pretty good dispersion. You see the shells they're keeping nice tight shot groups. I'll let them all reload this time, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm not really feeling too confident about
Precise
this
aim
one, but
activated.
see how many out of 12 that I can land running a precise. Yeah, see,
Target hit.
10. So really, so far, I'm batting, you know, close to 90% hit rates with my volleys, which is really, you can't complain about with any ship. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and go shallow. See if I can't land all 12. There it is. Just got him. So, you know, this one we're going to lose on points, I can already tell, but unless he manages to kill that carrier and we find that last battleship, which I wasn't. Oh, no, there he is. They're both over there. I have no possible chance of getting over there. But yeah, so kind of a fun little ship to play. You can see where it really excels in being able to shoot AP at pretty much everything. I mean, I Citadel a destroyer, which I've never been able to do in another battleship with AP. It's actually hard to do in general. Just hitting destroyers sometimes can be challenging. But, yeah, let's go ahead and time that one out. Of course, I get the battle star. Oh, I got a lot of battle stars when I lose. It's probably saying something, huh? Let's see. I didn't really shoot any secondaries that time, so that's all primary weapon damage. Now you do have secondaries, obviously. Your secondaries, they're nothing really to write home to or home about. You know, you're shooting HE, 269 damage to 5.2k, so at least it has okay range for secondaries. But man, I'm gonna play another one and see if I can't focus on secondaries a little bit. Because the one complaint that I do have about the secondaries on this is that you have to be perfectly broadside to get a whole side's worth of secondaries to fire on one target. That's probably its biggest downfall. You can see there, if you're paying attention or you go back and watch it again, you can see that your primary weapons have a really, really good arc where you can bring all 4 batteries to bear. But your secondaries are not that way, and I'll show you here. I'm going to figure out what way I want to go. I'm going to go left. So I'm going to point my guns to the right. But look at your secondary broadsides. Look at how narrow of an arc that is to get all 5 of them on one target. It's literally perfectly broadside. And I'd say maybe 10 degrees that you can get them on. Which if you're really in tight, that's fine. That's not that big of a problem. You're probably just trying to get shots in anyways. You know you're not going to be missed. But when you're not, just the slightest movement can take it to where you don't have all of them. So that's probably my one big complaint. I'm kind of over angling here, but
Target spotted.
again, I'm going to load AP. The other advantage to having 12 guns running HE is that you can do a lot of fire damage to targets. So obviously your HE, you're going to sacrifice probably 20% of your damage, but you can light guys on fire so often that I literally was lighting dudes on fire at least one fire per volley, and that wasn't a bad shot. And they'd have to make the decision to put out that fire or wait for something else. And it was causing a lot of players to use up their repair kits pretty early on, which is always a good thing, you know. So there's those secondaries.
Nice shot.
I'll load HE. Throw some something into this guy. He just shot torpedoes at me. I heard it.
Torpedoes!
Let's see if we can't light us a little bonfire here.
Target
Yep,
hit.
there it is.
Good job.
That's 2 fires. So I mean, it's a tool, and you see he's not putting it out. So I'm gonna get some fire damage off of that guy, obviously. And let's see if we can. We'll probably kill him with this volley, honestly. Yeah, he's dead.
We destroyed an enemy ship.
So it comes in handy for sure, firing HE. I'll see if I can't light some more fires, but pretty much, I swear every time that I pull the trigger and I'm shooting HE, if I land most of my shots, I light a fire. You got a 10% chance of lighting fires. And it's not like the destroyers or the cruisers where you have that extra bonus where you can add more. So it was half of them. Where you can add more of a chance. You don't have that as a bonus. I was actually tempted to go with that. But, you know, I was happy to go with the reload time and all that other stuff too. And there's probably one of my most hated ships to play against at this tier, the Kamikaze. He's on my team though, so he's good. It's just such an OP little ship, you know? I think that's fair to say. Nope, not me. Alright, let's see about some more fires here. So there's 2 batteries. Yep, there's 1 fire. And yeah, you just light fires like crazy with this thing. Because you have so many guns, you know? One of my guns is out of commission. There's another fire.
We hit the enemy.
You know, you get that compounding fire action going. It's kind of unfair, really. It's hard to fight against them when somebody's doing that to you. You know, you can put one out, maybe, if you haven't burned your repair kit. Get around this island. Yeah, this thing is just like, it's probably the coolest little battleship at this tier, I think, and I've had a lot of fun playing it. Setting fires to dudes and all that other stuff, so my battery's almost back. I think he's giving up.
Nice shot.
No fires there. So the other thing too about the Congo is it has wood decks, which is something that obviously they had there. Oh, there's another Battlestar. Which that wasn't a Congo, I'm just pointing that out. You have a higher chance of lighting fires on ships with wooden decks. At least you do in the main game. I haven't tested it in this game, but... So yeah, it makes decent credits too for the most part. I didn't make a whole lot that time, but I've had some really good games in it. But yeah, there it is. Let's see, the Victory Blitz, talked about that, talked about the German battleships, talked a little bit, talked about the October Revolution. Really just all around a pretty good update. I've been enjoying it. The other thing that they added was this Naval Academy, where they definitely added some more rewards in there too. I went back and had to claim a lot of them. It threw me off at first because I was like, wait a minute, I've already gotten that tier. Why is it not giving it to me? But they added some for some of the little levels that weren't there before, like Ports Unlocked, Blueprint Research Unlocked, Alias Unlocked was one, campaigns, all this other crap. So yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, have a good one, and yeah, stay frosty.